Thresholds in psychology.
So what are they? The difference threshold, also commonly referred to as the just noticeable difference or JND, is the smallest difference between two stimuli that is detectable 50% of the time. So basically, it is the minimum amount of change needed for us to recognize that a change has actually occurred. For example, with sound, when do you notice that pitch is increasing or decreasing in music? Or with light, when do you notice a difference in the brightness or darkness of an object? As a result, a man named Weber came up with the idea that this percentage of change will always remain constant rather than a constant amount. Now what about absolute thresholds? These are the lowest level of stimulation that a person can consciously detect 50% of the time the stimulation is present. In addition to this, many factors can influence this, such as motivations, expectations, cognitive processes, and whether the subject is adapted to the stimulus or not. Some examples of absolute thresholds include 1 teaspoon of sugar being dropped into 2 gallons of water, or 1 drop of perfume spread throughout a 3-bedroom apartment. With two different thresholds, it's easy to confuse the two. Think about it this way. When looking at absolute threshold, you're simply looking at detecting a stimulus, but when dealing with difference threshold, it's when you notice a change in the intensity of the sensory experience.
When it comes to just noticeable difference percentages, a change in light is first noticed at around 8%. For weight, it's 2%. For sound, it's 0.3%. For taste, it is 20%. An example is, in order to determine a difference in volume of a song, you must turn it up at least 1/3 of its original volume.
The next topic we will cover discusses subliminal perception. The term subliminal stimuli simply refers to the unconscious perception of words or images that actually influence behavior without awareness. The origins of the word limen also mean threshold. Therefore, sublimen is defined as being below the threshold.
Now, what is there to know about sensory adaptation and habituation? Although the two subjects are merely similar, sensory adaptation involves receptor cells becoming less active to recurring information, whereas habituation causes the brain itself to stop responding to new information. In order to understand what we're talking about, think about why we notice certain smells or sounds right away, and then after a while they fade into the background. Once we adapt to the perfume or ticking of the clock, we just stop recognizing it.
Last but not least, the signal detection theory basically states how external factors can influence thresholds. So based on your environment, does it help or hinder your senses? It follows the rule that certain sensory receptors will be enhanced during times when concentration is needed, such as when playing hide and go seek. These enhanced factors may vary, but could include experience, expectation, motivation, and alertness. Also, unlike older psychological beliefs, the signal detection theory takes observer characteristics directly into consideration.
So that's all for this one. Please comment if you have any unanswered questions.